Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 561.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Whew. All right, everybody, how are you doing? Hopefully things are going well. For those of you who I haven't met before, welcome. My name is Jay, CEO of CashFlow Diary. We are going to be answering your questions today because that's what we do every Tuesday. I mean, we've been doing this for quite some time. That answering your questions is what I mean. And we do our best to make sure that all of our students, yourself included, get the opportunity to make sure that they never get stuck somewhere, because we don't want any of our students to ever feel like they are stuck in the process. Because all of you, as I've said before, I say again, we're in the process of becoming, right? It's a proverbial caterpillar, butterfly, etc. Where we're all transforming in various different ways. So here's how this works. For those of you who are watching inside of our Facebook group, oh, that's right. I got to pull your questions up on the phone, because that way I can make sure that I see them. So for all of our existing students inside, if you're watching inside the Facebook group, I'm going to have your questions here on the phone. For those of you watching other places, just type your questions in the chat and we'll be able to pick those up. Or if you want to be super awesome, do us a favor, give us a call, call in to, where's the number go? There it is. It is 417-352-2274. Again, 417-352-2274. What that will do is it allows me and you to converse, to have a conversation, to talk about whatever it is as it relates to business, real estate, short-term rentals, etc. Because at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, if you don't do anything different, then what are we doing here? But that's my goal. My goal is to inspire you, help you be willing to take those risks that you have been unwilling to do. And sometimes it's just simply answering a question. So I think many of you, you know how this works. You've been here before. This is not your first time per se. So we would definitely love for you to get on the line, 417-352-2274. And be nice to Megan when she picks up, answer her questions, because she has the power to keep you offline. So if you're not nice to her, she might boot you. You don't want that to happen. So anyway, I want you to go ahead and, like I said, call into the number. That would be great. And I'm going to do our best to take questions from some of the chat in the Facebook groups, and let me pull up the other chat as well. Oh wow, we got a number of people here today. Mark Hill, he said that this is funny. I appreciate you guys letting me know. He says we're here. That's it. I kind of like it. Makes it simple. Makes it easy. Ron. Okay, so Ron is referring to, this is a great question, and that's exactly, I did that on purpose. Okay, so for those of you who saw the title, and the title today, what I said is, do this one thing to add a zero, okay, to your income. And then Ron says which side of the decimal, which is such an important question. For those of you in the U.S., I mean, on the left side. For those of you watching overseas, I mean, the left side of the comma, okay? So either way it goes, we're talking about the left side of the decimal or the left side of the comma. I hear you. And at the end of the day, that's a great question, Ron, and we're going to totally answer that. And I'm going to do my best to illustrate that as we go today. So that is definitely one of the things we'll be talking about. Who's this? I don't know this name. Alice. That's a new name for me. So welcome, Alice. Glad that you are here. And then let's see, Candace. Let Let me see. Candace Terry says, "Hi, Jay. Your brother, Delvin, put me on your podcast, and I have to say that I am learning a lot." Awesome. Delvin, thank you. And Candace, welcome. So there it is. I appreciate you taking the time. For those of you who don't know, yes, we've been producing a podcast. We're well over 500 episodes and then some. We have those available wherever, I wanted to say wherever fine podcasts are sold, but that's not true. It's whatever podcast app you choose, we're probably there. Just type in CashFlow Diary or go to CashFlowDiaryPodcast.com. You definitely will be able to pick that up there. Carol, how are you? I see Daniel. What's going on? And then we have a question here, and I think it's Umair. Oh my goodness. We have a number of people also on the line as well. So this is good. So we'll be able to get some questions going, and I still forgot to pull up the Facebook group. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the Facebook group right now because I'm not going to forget about you guys. I don't want to be that guy. Laura, someone help Laura. I see her in the Facebook group, and she's like, "Am I missing Jay Live now?" Yes, Laura, you are missing it. I am live right now. I'm in the Facebook group, though, Laura, so you should just be able to refresh or scroll. Whoops, there it goes. 1 second. And come on. Is that it? I just want to see the group. There it is. Got it. I see all of the group questions right here. Or at least I think I see the group questions. There they are. Got them. Excellent. So what is that? Mark, how are you? He says, keeping it lively. St. Clair, what's going on? St. Clair says, he says we have the best theme music. Thank you, St. Clair. It literally takes hours upon hours to find and or make the music that you guys that you hear. So this is good. Where do you get your music from? The tracks today came from Epidemic Sound. And occasionally, sometimes you may have actually been listening to something I made. So that's a whole nother story. Shelton, what's going on in Hawaii? How are you? And Tiffany Nicole, great. I love it. She says, "Hey Jay, I signed our lease for our second unit last week, and you're looking at your third one this week." So it sounds like Tiffany is all about adding a zero to her income, and she's trying to make that happen. So I can't blame her at all for any of that. All right. So let's get to one of the questions on the line here. I'm not quite sure exactly. I got a lot of them to choose from. I see this person was waiting the longest, so we'll go with that one. Hold on. Umair, we're going to come back to your question, so I didn't forget you. Don't stress. And okay, let's see. So I'm not sure who this is, but caller, you're calling from Laguna Niguel, I believe, is the area. And who do I have the pleasure with?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Dad.
Dad? Who is this?
We're in the car. It's Jasleen.
Come on. What are you...
What do you mean, come on? I actually have a question.
Okay, go. Okay, you have a question. Go. So, yeah. For everyone watching, this is my 11-year-old daughter who decided to call in today. Were you guys here when my mom called in? Anyway, yes, honey, what's up?
How many units do you have, and how long have you been in this process?
Okay. We currently have 37 units. And did you say how long we've been in the process?
Yeah, like the process of getting more units and stuff. Like the business.
Got it. That's actually a very appropriate question for what we're going to be talking about today. So
I told you.
What's that? What'd you say?
I didn't.
Okay. So yeah, that's a very appropriate question because when you say how long have I been in the process, the process of becoming someone who can run business and all of those things, that's been quite some time, darling, quite some time. Because you could trace it all the way back to the time that I had our very, very first business if you wanted to. So I could say I've been in the process for almost 15 years.
Whoa!
No, so yeah, that's a very
So,
appropriate question.
like when Ayana was little.
When Ayana was little, that's exactly right, because she was actually part of the reason for the process beginning is because I wanted to be able to, you know how sometimes I either pick you guys up from school or drop you off or all that other stuff. I wasn't able to do that a long time ago, and I wanted to be able to pick her up and drop her off and that type of stuff. So what ended up happening is I had to find a way to earn money without having to be physically at work. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Awesome. So now, with that being said, I'm going to go get to some more people. Is that cool?
Okay.
Thanks for calling. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's so funny. So who out there has children that have a cell phone? Anyway, moving on. I believe the name is William in Fullerton. So let's try that and see how this goes or not. Nope, someone from North Carolina, I see. Yes.
Yes, so Jay, you got Taylor from North Carolina. How are you, sir?
Hey, Taylor, I am pretty good.
It's not fair making me follow your kid because it's not going to be anywhere near as cool as that was. So,
Dude, I didn't even know. I was like, wait, what? It's like, come on. Yeah. So anyways, but at least you had a real question.
No, it's good. Hey, I actually, and to be fair, I don't actually have a real question. I just want to call in and let you know that I view you as one of my mentors. I read your book when I first got started, and now it's literally the first real estate book I recommend to anyone that's getting started. So
Wow.
I wanted to call in and just say thank you for all you give. And if you're ever up in Charlotte, I'd love to have you to one of our meetups or something, and without putting you on the spot now because you don't respond. But if you're ever up here, we'd love to host you.
Did you say Charlotte?
Yes, sir.
As in North Carolina? Yeah. I think I'll be back out in Charlotte, I want to say sometime in Q1 of next year. And if send an email into info@cashflowdiary.com, and I will work around figuring out how to participate and help in any way I can.
Awesome. We have a mutual friend, and I won't drop a name, but he's on the intro. So I thought it was interesting to hear him as you were coming on today. Again, thank you for all you do and all you give.
All right. Thank you. You're quite welcome. Thanks for calling in. That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, for those of you who are wondering a little bit about what he just said, there's he mentioned a book that he recommends, which is he said the very first book, real estate book, that he tends to recommend for people. So I can't not show you now that the book Cash Flow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth in Any Economy, is there. And that's the book he was referring to. The Audible version, so I will tell you this for sure, the Audible version has material that has never been released anywhere. And I don't do all of the voice because I learned a hard lesson there. That's hard work. But it's definitely some of the voice, and you hear my wife. You hear the number of us inside the audiobook. So feel free if that's something that you're inclined to talk about. I definitely appreciate that, Taylor. Thanks for calling in. And let's see, who do we have? Anyone? Okay. I see. All right, cool. I've got one more caller, and then we will get to some more of the questions. And for those of you, if you're like, dude, I got a question, I want to call in, cool. It's here comes the number 417-352-2274. And Lorena, how are you doing, ma'am?
Hey, Jay, how are you?
So far, so good. What's going on? How can I help?
I have two questions.
Okay.
So right now, I try to hook up with my Booking.com with the rest of the Airbnb and HomeAway.
Okay.
So I have a question about the pricing. So in the beginning, we have Airbnb and HomeAway, and yes, I hook up with Price Lab with Airbnb directly, and HomeAway, we're doing the price with the market makers, which is a HomeAway internal. So right now, since we have to do in Booking.com, and it looks like we have to go through the price from Lodgify. Is that correct? So if we have to do that, then we have to redo all the price again from hook it up with Lodgify directly and the price lab with Lodgify, and then Lodgify will give the price for Airbnb and Booking.com. But the problem is, how do I have a Lodgify ignore HomeAway and just give Airbnb and Booking.com and ignore the HomeAway?
Got it. So which version of the Lodgify API are you currently using?
It's the latest one, I believe.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Did you specifically apply for the beta program with Lodgify or no?
No, I use basic.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so
You're using basic. Basic doesn't send pricing to HomeAway, so it'll automatically ignore it.
So am I supposed to doing the professional now, or how do I?
I'm using the basic. I'm still using the basic because the professional is currently in beta. And yeah, I'm still using the basic. Now, we've applied for the beta. We haven't fully configured it because I'm going really, really slow because I don't want things to get messed up. So at the moment, what you're doing is exactly correct. You want to have Lodgify connected to Booking.com as you do. And then you also want to have that connected to Airbnb. And you want to get your pricing direct to Airbnb from Price Labs, but also have Price Labs go over to Lodgify. So what you're doing is 100% exactly
so
right.
I can just, so they will ignore HomeAway, right? Because my is
correct
on the basic.
Correct.
Also, that if my my Lodgify is in one account, Price Lab has several accounts. They give me the error message of some listing were in another account. How do I overcome that issue?
When you email Price Lab, they can fix that for you. Did you actually send them an email at their support?
Yes, I did. I haven't get any answer back, so I was thinking I probably get answer back quickly from you.
No, there's actually a configuration that they have to change inside their software in order to make that possible, so you have to wait for them. Okay. I've had an issue, that's why.
Okay,
cool.
So that can be fixable. I have one more question that is from real estate.
Okay, last one, because I got more people. Come on.
Yeah, very quick. So I currently have a prospect that have like 100 units, multifamily, and we want to combine with ACN together. The problem is after 5 years, when they sell the property, how we're going to structure the deal right now in order for that how does transition go in 5 years if they want to sell the property, and where's the ACN back then how does that account transaction?
Those are two completely separate lines of revenue, which have their own. That's basically that. It's the same thing that would happen, like when I bought a commercial building. The commercial building had a cell phone tower. Initially, both of those things were together, but then they were sold separately vis-a-vis the contract. So that's literally down to the contract and how those services are signed up for. So the main thing you want to make sure then is that you use a separate entity for each of them. If you want to make it really easy, use two completely separate entities, one for the building and one for the services. And that should keep it very separate. Does that make sense?
So the entity of the services, once they sell it to another owner, that service entity will transfer over, or can we keep it?
No. They can keep it, they can transfer it, they can do whatever they want to do with it.
I see. Okay,
so it's a completely separate asset. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
cool.
That makes sense. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for calling in. All right, let me get a couple of more. I see some more people who have called in. I will get to you, so I have not forgotten. I just want to make sure, though, that I get some of the people who are right. I mean, you guys are blowing up the chat today, which I like. So this is good. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Let's see. Oh, wow. Hi, Tiffany. Like the beard. Nope. Anthony, the beard is actually going away later today because I am speaking tomorrow in Pasadena. I'm like, where am I speaking tomorrow? I'm speaking tomorrow in Pasadena. And interesting that you bring that up. I'm going to hit on this small little piece. So one of the things that I've said in the title of this particular one, I said, do this one thing to add a zero. Okay. And here's what I will say. You and I, all of us, we will never out earn our personal growth, period. We just won't. Meaning, if you are to some degree, you've heard it said, how you see yourself, that's literally that self-image, right? I had a friend one time who told me I'm not a six-figure guy, meaning he was referring to himself. He's like, I'm not a six-figure guy. I don't know how to do six figures. And that statement in and of itself is part of the challenge. But part of the solution also is not just saying different things or, out loud about yourself, but beginning to believe them. Said another way, you and I will not out earn our personal growth. You heard my daughter earlier ask, which was crazy. I did not put her up to that. How long have we been in the process? Part of the process is personal growth, an intense commitment to it. And intense can be relative, to however you look at it. For me, intense means 2 books a month, and it's meant that and means things like that for a long time. Or podcast. You're consuming the information for the intent of using it and becoming a bigger, better version of yourself. And it doesn't have to be just business, because you have many facets to your life. However, everywhere you go, there you are, right? And because of that, one of the things that's, I guess, really important to know is that with that commitment to personal growth means that maybe sometimes there's additional time involved, there's additional money and resources involved. And as I continue to go through this process, I'm reminded of something that one of my many mentors would say, is that I didn't know or didn't understand the value of an idea. And so what does that mean? Any idea, I don't care what it is, any idea given to you. So you guys are calling in or writing in, answering your questions, giving you ideas. That idea has a certain level of value for Lorena that we were just discussing, right? And ideas can be had in many different forms. So obviously you can get a book and read it. There's a certain level of transmission of that idea. You can attend a seminar. There's another one. You can be in a coaching group. There's another. You can have mentors that are physically in front of you and far away in various different ways. Here's my point. I'm saying all of this to say simply that what you need to do in order to make sure that you are becoming a bigger, better version of yourself is not just collect ideas, but implement them, right? And one of the things that I know that we at CashFlow Diary don't do, we don't have information in courses that are specifically designed to help you on the personal development side. When it comes to the technique and the understanding and the sales process and becoming all of those things, we can assist you greatly. But when it comes to becoming a bigger, better, badder version of you, that's not something that we do. However, I know people who do, and many of you, are going to be, you may have received the emails, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but we are going to be doing a presentation with one such individual who has been able to help. It's hard to overstate, right? Imagine you currently are a quote unquote 5-figure person, but then you go to become a 6-figure person, and then you become a 7-figure person. You're in the process of becoming all the time. All of us are. But yet, if you don't want it to take 15 years and you would rather have it done in a much shorter, compact, concentrated amount of time, maybe you don't have 15 years. You're like, dude, I need to do that now. Great. That is, again, the entire reason why he and I together are going to be hosting this Thursday at cashflowdiary.com/action, a presentation around get more faster. Literally, that is the idea, right? To accelerate your own personal growth process. And what happens here is that the majority of us, we don't realize what might be in the way that is preventing us from doing it. So you say to yourself, okay, Jay, I've read the books, I've done these things, I got it. I understand all of that. And I'm saying do more because you still haven't achieved the result. Stopping what you started isn't going to assist you. But what will help, and what has helped me and continues to help me, is making sure that I make intentional time for improving me. Helps me become a better father, a better husband, hopefully a better friend. I am learning so much. And then again, as many of you guys have known, as we've talked about, it is a shock to one's system to discover at my age. How old am I? I forgot. 44. It was like a year and a half ago. We're discovering that, hey, you're autistic and you have ADHD. Like, oh my gosh. And that in and of itself, just understanding that, beginning to understand that and how that has affected business heretofore and how it has changed interactions and relationships since, also makes it all of these things, taking time to become, to understand yourself, what's in the way. And you could have, and you, all of us, we've got blind spots that we're not aware of. Here's my point. When you're able, when you're ready to take on that enemy that's been in front of you for a long time, what you're going to do is you're going to find a way to seek out the information you need and implement it. One such way that I'm telling you to do that is go to cashflowdiary.com/action. Brian Mattson and myself, we're going to be there to assist you, okay, to take you along the road of what it takes to get the job done. We're going to highlight some of the things that you may not be thinking about, some of the things that you think aren't in the way that might be in the way. And at the end of the day, he's going to be working with a group of individuals who are ready to literally transform, because it is a transformation process, which by default means it's not going to, you can't learn it as a 3-day boot camp. It is something that happens over time, right? You can't lose all of the weight you want to lose in a weekend, and changing the habits, actions, thought patterns that you have doesn't happen in a weekend either. I was just with a friend of mine, and he was just remarking how 2 years ago, his tolerance for things were completely different than they are today. And specifically, we're talking about his tolerance for leverage and or debt. Just understanding how that has actually helped him grow his business in a completely different way, because he's developed a different mindset. He's been able to open and see different things. And on the other side of that, he's approaching 7 figures. He'll get there soon, right? But understand, 2 years ago, that was not something that was quickly or anywhere near as quickly in his realm, but it is today. And it's because of personal development. It's because of books. It's because of showing up to Q&As and asking questions and doing things like this. Now, with that out of the way, let me also get back to answering some more of your questions and giving some ideas about what can do. Do we have any more? Okay, so let me put the call. I'm going to put the call-in number back up there. So if you want to give us a call, feel free to do that. Uh-oh. Did I? Okay, I did it right.
Hello there, entrepreneur. This is Jay Massey. I know that if you've ever gone over to the site, CashFlowDiary.com, you may have asked yourself, where on earth do you get a domain name from? Especially as you are beginning to build your bigger, better, badder business, you need a web presence. You need the email address. You need a way for people to contact you electronically so that you can stop doing the @gmail.com game. Well, the good folks over at GoDaddy have definitely supplied us with every domain that we have ever used. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to trygodaddy.com/cashflowdiary. Again, that's trygodaddy.com/cashflowdiary, because it's a quick way for you to get set up to capture your domain name the exact way that you want it. They got easy search functions, and most importantly for you is that you'll be up and running today. As I said, once you get started, stay started. Don't let small little obstacles of how to get your own domain name going stop you. So again, go to trygodaddy.com/cashflowdiary, and let's get back to the rest of the story.
What is that? Yes, that is new music. You guys have noticed that is new music. That's great that we've got. And then where are we? Sean J, the same sofa bed The same sofa bed that you put in all your units, is it custom made or from a particular website or store? Sean, as you guys know, and as I tell everybody, the designer we allow, in this case, Latanya, to have control over that, and it is the custom made every time. Because remember, part of the customer that we're serving are those that are, we'll say, larger, meaning typically over 6 feet, et cetera, because one size does not fit all. That's all I'm going to say there. And Rebecca, right? Rebecca, that was funny. I'm expecting a question, and then it's my daughter. So that's pretty awesome. Second question. You said in a listing review that you no longer use August Lock due to battery and not lasting long, so you use Vivint Smart Lock. Yes. That lasts much longer? And yes, incredibly much longer, especially comparatively. And Ring camera is set separately at the side and not in the front lock. And that would also have a battery challenge. Yes, the Ring camera, correct. So there's a separate power requirement for the camera and a separate network. Plus, the Ring camera has a single point of failure. And that's usually anything that when I'm talking to you guys about a system, it's about efficiency and single points of failure. So we're working to avoid those. So I'm trying to make sure I say this correctly, nearly every system that you're buying in piecemeal, a lot of people come to me and say, well, Jay, I got this for cheaper, and this is cheaper, and this is cheaper. Okay, wonderful. You saved there, but you're going to spend more time either changing batteries, even if you set them up on the system, and you're going to spend more time with disconnects because you have a single point of failure. And what I simply mean by that is one of the reasons we recommend and have continually recommended Vivint is because every system has a backup network as well. So even if the guest unplugs, tampers with, or thinks they're getting away with disabling your system by, like I said, unplugging it or turning off the internet or something, system keeps going. Now, obviously, it can't go forever with no power, but it does keep going, right? It's usually 8-9 hours where it can keep going. And then it notifies you that something has happened, giving you time to actually correct it or your staff. So there are so many advantages when you're trying to run a very efficient, what I would call a very efficient, well-run system, especially around security, that just wasn't possible. And especially once you start including the scaling components that are possible as well. But again, which is why we ended up working with them so much. That's why we ended up developing packages and discounts and all that other stuff. It's because, like, wow, this is the answer to all of the concerns, right? So, Sean, if you haven't already reached out to my wife, Poppy Massey, she's in the Facebook group, make sure you do, because as you go down the Vivint rabbit hole, so to speak, you're going to want to take advantage of what we've already set up for you guys, all right? Aaron says, new student and just got my first house to do arbitrage with. Okay. Through AirDNA, my area gives me a B+. Does that rating hold any weight? Got it. Like all ratings, it's always subject to how the data collection methods are. And I don't know your area because you just said, you didn't tell me. You just said your area. So I don't really know where geographically you are. And you're not actually going to know until you've been in that area operating in that area for about 12 months. Here's what I will say in general, though. I know for a fact, Scott, that's the CEO's name, of AirDNA, they've done a lot of work, Scott and his team have done a lot of work to get better data collection, and so much so that if you can scroll back through some of these videos and you can see me totally like trash, like don't touch AirDNA, because that was my position. They made some changes, and now I actually pay for and use them. And so that we're clear, it's not like I'm getting paid to say any of this. Okay, it's just what I needed for my own business. And there's still some other issues that I can deal with in terms of their data. But at the end of the day, they can give you a great baseline. So I tend to put a lot of weight in their trend data more than their absolute numbers. So if you're looking at anything that's an absolute, like, hey, that means your RevPAR is going to be this, or your daily rate is going to be this, or your vacancy and occupancy is going to be this, I don't necessarily, that's great. And what I really care about is the trend. They're really good at telling you when high or low season might be. They're really good at helping you identify what could be some of your compression weekends and nights, which is great. But as far as giving you an exact number in some cases, they still have some ways to improve in that particular area. So hopefully, Aaron, that totally helps you. All right. Woo! We have another caller, it seems. So we definitely want to make that happen, but I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed something here. And I have. All right. Oh, that's right, Umair. So, Umair, you said my parents' basement is a place where I'd like to run a short-term rental model. Should I just speak to the HOA first or just do it? Got it. So, Umair, and again, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing it correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. At the end of the day, we run everything that we talk about is 100% transparent, above board, documented. What does that mean? It means a couple of things in the case of what you're saying. Well, it has come to mean that typically HOAs are something that we avoid, period. Now, does that mean you can't work with an HOA? No, doesn't mean that. It means, first, you need to get a copy of what are known as the CC&Rs, okay, so that you can find out exactly what the HOA says. Now, if my guess is right, most of them are going to have some sort of either 28 or 30-day limit, meaning they can't have people staying for less than 28 days or less than 30 days, etc. Okay, so this is where you're presented with your first choice. Your first choice is, okay, does that mean then, if I'm going to do this, am I going to run a 30-day model? Meaning, I'm only going to use this space, this particular space, as a model that only does 30 days minimum at a time. That is the first choice. Second is, if you still are insistent on running something contrary to what the CC&Rs say, now it's time for a conversation, right? To figure out, why is it there? Is it possible to change that? It is possible, not likely, but possible that they could be considering changing that. There are some, not many, HOAs across the United States anyway, that specifically cater to the short-term rental model. Now, the only way you're going to find that out, though, is, again, starting with the CC&Rs. So that's your first step. And once you figure that out, you need to take another step back. And again, I don't know if you're a student right now. I'm sorry, I just don't know. But if you are, I would go to the Mastermind product, Module 1, because you need to make sure that who you are looking to serve is going to be in alignment with the particular property type that you're considering. Okay, so all of those things are things that I would do. Hey, and here's the good news. It's recorded, so you can hit that rewind button. All right. I think there's a person on the phone. Let me pull up my boo. There we go. What? You don't. Got it. All right. Let me see. Looks like Morgan in North Carolina. I get a lot of North Carolina people today. I kind of like it. That's where I'm from, guys. It's all good. Morgan, how are you doing?
Hi, Jay. I'm doing good. I hope you are.
So far.
So my question, I'm still such a newbie, and I hear all these people like, I have this many units, and I don't have any units yet, but I have a question about financing. So
okay.
I asked in the Facebook group, too. I had a couple people answer, but I want to know your perspective. I'm in a situation where my bills are extremely low. I don't even have a full-time job right now. My living situation is very fortunate, and I'm wanting to go ahead and get started with short-term rentals. I've, obviously educated myself enough, and I'm prepared to get started, but I still don't understand the best way to go in terms of my financing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that I can literally find investors to be able to start leasing out apartments. I mean, not apartments, the units. I just don't. Maybe I need to go back to the cash flow or the other course about cash, being able to find investors and raise capital. But I'm just not really sure about somebody in my situation. What would you do to be able to get started the quickest? Because I was under the impression I needed to go get a full-time job, finance it that way and just get started that way. But if I can kind of shortcut that, I would love to know, how.
Interesting.
I hope that makes sense.
I think so. May I ask you a couple of questions, though?
Yeah.
Okay. How young are you?
I'm 25.
Got it. Now this is making sense. Okay, got it. And so have you ever held an actual job then, or no?
Yeah, I have. But I basically started like bartending and doing like little gigs and stuff so I could kind of maintain myself. I hate 9 to 5. I just don't like having like somebody tell me where to be at what time, so I found other ways to make money to keep myself afloat.
So, okay, then I'm just so that I can have context, then how do you eat today? Because food ain't free.
I had money saved up. I just was really smart with my money. I have help from certain people. Like I'll like do little gigs, like literally like DoorDash or Uber or bartending gigs and things like that, just to kind of pay. Yeah, just because my bills are so low, I'm not really in a situation where I'm in dire need. But I want to go ahead and get a business started so I don't have to rely on those gigs anymore, I guess.
Oh, I'm all about it. All right,
I'm sure everybody understands.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so here's where I'm coming from. You don't need a job, but you need a source of income. Does that make sense?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like right now I don't understand if I need to go get a full-time job to be able to start leasing apartments. A lot of people are telling me, well, it depends on. Why do you
need that? Why do you believe currently that you would need to go get a full-time job?
I don't know because the only time I've. Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you need to? Who said that?
I guess I was just under the impression that, when you go to sign a lease, they're like, they want to make sure that you have income coming in. Like if you, I don't know. I've never signed a lease by myself, to be honest. I was always with my mom in college. She was the co-signer, so I didn't really, it wasn't me by myself.
Got it. Now this is starting to take shape and make a whole bunch of sense. Now, there's an operative word in what you just said that makes a ton of sense, and that a lot of people who are listening right now are going to learn a lot from. It's the word assume, right? It's sometimes it's what we assume and then become confident of without ever actually having research that can sometimes shipwreck us. Here's what I mean by that. Because in the same way that you're like, man, I'm income challenged, there are people who are credit challenged. They're like, man, no one's going to rent to me because I have this, right? Which is, well, okay, that's just a fact. That's that's there. And it's also irrelevant. Here's why. And it's going to sound like I'm going all the way around, but I'm trying to make sure you get the concept as well, and so that you can carry it forward so that the next time you hit an obstacle, you'll be able to deal with it. At the end of the day, let's pretend for a second, Morgan, that you went to the emergency room. Your arm was like literally bleeding, gushing blood, okay? And you needed assistance. The only doctor there, or the only one there in a lab coat, is willing to assist you. Do you ask that doctor or ask that person if what grade they got in biology?
No.
You care at that moment?
No.
Okay. Do you care what their credit score is at that moment?
No.
Do you care how much money they have in the bank at that moment?
No.
Or their salary? Or where they went to school? Does any of that matter?
No.
No. At that moment, the only thing that matters is that you believe he or she can solve your problem, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
So your job is to understand the problem for the customer. So your customer, in this case, when you're talking about leasing a property, is a landlord. What is the problem? So I'm in that pop quiz. What is the problem that landlords face?
They have a vacancy they need to fill.
Correct. Vacancy is a problem. It's their greatest expense. And what solution are you offering as vacant to their vacancy issue?
To fill the vacancy.
Yeah. You absolutely are. So what matters is, can you solve their problem? Do you know how to?
Oh,
I didn't ask you if you had done it. I said, do you know how to?
Yes.
Excellent. Understand, and when you can keep the conversation right there, that's what matters. Now that we're there, they may ask for capacity, because that's what we're talking about. They want to know that you have the capacity to actually solve it. It's one thing to say it. can you prove to me
Right.
that you have the capacity to do so? This is where, and again, not all the time, but this is where they may ask for some sort of either verification of either an income or a big stack of cash stored somewhere that can be deployed in order to make this happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you got now the question is which do you have? You're admitting I don't have a stream of income, but at the same time you're saying I have a pot of cash and I know that I can raise capital to have an even bigger pot of cash if need be. So let's see, you're in North Carolina. What is, and again, I just don't know what I don't know. What is a one bedroom rent out there? 800, 900?
Yeah, about 900 to 1,000. I said a band, 1,000.
Okay. So now let's pretend for a second you had, I'm making up numbers, but let's pretend you had $50,000 sitting in the bank and you're sitting in front of a landlord and saying, hey, Mr. Landlord, I would like a lease for 12 months. I have $50,000 currently sitting in the bank, and here's what I intend to do with the property. Now, does 1 year of rent, is that more or less than $50,000 in this case?
Less.
Do you see where I'm coming from now?
Yeah. This
So,
makes no sense. Thank you for breaking it down. I don't know why I didn't think of it that way. There's like a limiting belief that people weren't going to want to like work with a newbie real estate investor or something. Like, why would, it's a limiting belief situation. I get what you're saying, though.
100%. And that's this conversation is exactly why we are doing the presentation that on what day is that? Thursday. But this is exactly why we're doing the presentation, because you're not the only one who has this type of limiting thing that is in their way that they can't see, but because they can't see it, you couldn't see a way around it at all until you stop, until someone guides you through a process and then helps you through that process. And this is literally what I do, right? Is to help people see their way around some of the things that feel like roadblocks. And now for you, that roadblock has been removed and you'll encounter another one, and that's okay. What matters is that as you continue to become a bigger, better version of you, how you choose to respond to that. Do you just, because most people, when they take that roadblock, and here's something I want to commend you for. You must understand this, Morgan. This is huge. There are so many adults right now who are listening to you, who are in some way jealous because at 25, they wish someone would have removed something as simple as this roadblock for them so that they could have made more progress sooner. And you just now got it. And there are some adults, many of them, who, when they encounter a roadblock, they interpret that as, oh, well, I need to go get a job first, then I can. And what ends up happening is they sell all of their time, their most valuable asset, and then they get stuck in a job before they've had a chance to let this new asset grow. You have a very unique opportunity in front of you, young lady, because you, as you said, my expenses are low and fortunate situation, all of these things. You just need to unlock that and follow and go and keep asking the questions that you're asking, because this is the type of stuff that puts you in a completely different position by the time, 25, 31, 32-ish, that changes whatever you're thinking, was in your future, right? And understanding how to become a person or of resource, of answers, a way to deliver a product or service to the marketplace. It's going to change the direction of your life. Did you happen to go to college?
Yeah, I did. I got a degree in public relations. So
degree in what? Did you say
public relations?
That's
no,
cool.
it wasn't useless. I'm like a brainiac. I like to self-educate. I think I could have used it
Got it.
a little bit better than.
That's good.
So from what it sounds like you said, I need to go get on this Capital Creators course pretty much, because I'm not going to lie, I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't really take it as seriously as I did the blueprint and the mastermind. So I guess if I just go through that, I'll kind of increase my knowledge on how to go after, once I find that deal, how to get the funds.
Yeah, but basically what Capital Creators will lay out for you is it'll introduce you to the concept of raising capital. It'll introduce you to the problem that you're solving for investors when you're raising capital. It'll then help you understand things like the deal structures and give you a system, a marketing system, for lack of a better way of putting it, of how to make sure that you constantly have a flow of investors, so that when a opportunity presents itself, you have access to enough capital to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. That's what we do.
I
And
have one more question. It's super quick.
Okay, go for it.
Like the difference between renting and owning in the STR business, which I remember you saying renting is actually better, I think, because of the time factor. But is that really the only benefit you would say?
No,
like,
no,
I know
no.
both are. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. There are many benefits, and for the majority of the individuals who are looking at getting involved in real estate investing in general, the biggest benefit is that the biggest benefit is actually the experience component. Because oftentimes what happens with individuals is that they save up, their $500,000, $250,000, $100,000, whatever, and then they go buy a property. And then on that property, that's when their experience really begins. And after they've taken $100,000 time to save $100,000 and committed to a mortgage of some kind. So now that they're kind of stuck, they got to make this thing work. And that's, in my opinion, I interpret that as very risky. Whereas you can take that same $100,000 and by leasing the property, you limit your risk. And what happens is that you gain the experience. So, and through that process, the short-term rental system that we talk about, phase 1 and phase 2 specifically, allow you to build up a machine that produces that $100,000 on a more frequent basis. So that now that you have the experience, you now have the experience and the cash, and what you can now go do is you can go buy any type of real estate that you want so that you're in a position to properly operate it. Does that make sense?
Totally. So essentially start with renting because of those factors, and then, later once you have the experience and the capital creation, you can, or capital flow, you can go ahead and start looking into owning.
Yeah, that's the entire point. That's exactly, so it's what we call phase 1, phase 2, then over to phase 3. And we have some phase 3 students as well, obviously. And we've got students in all of the phases. You're at the phase 1 stage, and that makes perfect sense. But that's exactly it. And keywords, to reference back to what we've been talking about, at each of those stages, you will encounter completely different roadblocks that feel like, how do I get past this one? And that's one of the biggest reasons you want to continue to take advantage of the Facebook group and show up to these so that you can get your questions answered. And if for some reason, one of the experienced operators in the group didn't give you an answer you liked, or you just want to confirm it or whatever, that's why I've been committed. I don't even know how many years we've been doing this, but we've been doing this for a number of years to help people get past whatever it is, because I don't want nobody stuck.
Right.
Nope.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you so much. Really.
You're welcome. No problem. Now, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is to go do something. The thing that'll get on my nerves is if next week you ask me the same question. You ain't made no progress. Right. So don't be doing that.
Understood.
Good. All right. Cool. Excellent. All right. Let me get back into the Facebook group and see what other questions we got. Oh, we got a little bit. We don't have much time left. Let's see what's going on. And again, everybody, if you just heard the conversation that I just had with Morgan, that type of conversation and more. So just imagine, you imagine if you had someone who has trained, mentored, and taken people from 5 to 6 to 7 figures, guiding you through a process that helps you implement what we give you. That's literally what we're talking about, because it's not just, many of us know exactly what to do, but we don't do it. But having someone guide us through and hold us accountable to getting through that process, oh my God, it's like everything. And in fact, here's the thing that you may not be thinking about that I know that I am, because it's on my phone. It is 92 days left in this year. At the end of those 92 days, many of you are going to make a promise to yourself. This year, I'm going to make more money. Well, if you want to make that promise come true, you're going to come to cashflowdiary.com/action. That's what you're going to do, right? You're going to make sure that you get over there, you register, because the answer to adding that zero is to becoming a bigger, better you, right? It's not just about getting more information. You got to understand that there's this knowing and doing, because to know and not do is to not know. Trust me on that one, for sure. All right. Let me find the other questions that are in here. Okay, there they are. All right. What is that? Brian Dillon says, what about if Vivint is not available? I don't know what you mean by that. Are you outside the United States, Brian? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Here's what I'm going to say, Brian, because I don't have you on the phone or anything. What I would do is that I would contact my wife. Again, her name is Poppy, P-O-P-I, Massey. She's on Facebook. She's in the Facebook group. Ask her. She can probably dig down deeper and help you and help that, because I don't really know. Susan, several years, Jay. You've been doing these live Q&As for several years. And Susan, you've been here for like all of those years. That's amazing, too, as well. All right. Let me see. Okay, we've got some more questions here. Is that Peter? PJ. That is Peter. Been a long time. Hey, PJ, how are you doing? Oh, man, that's awesome. Shanna, oh, boy, this is long. So let's read this together, guys. Let's read this one together. All right. It says, I started connecting Lodgify to VRBO and Booking.com and realized that with it, I cannot continue to have payments processed by those platforms. Right. Payments will be switched to my payment processor, Stripe. Yes. I know there have been lots of problems with payments previously that are now solved by VRBO and Booking.com doing the payments. Am I going to have payment problems if I connect to Lodgify and start doing all payments through Stripe? What are you doing with your business on that subject? Excellent. And you just hit on, Shanna, the very reason why I'm going real slow. So as it sits at this exact moment, okay, we are using every version of a basic connection you could possibly imagine, because I am wanting to avoid being the one processing the payments specifically for the reservation. Now, for additional services, all that other stuff, great, we'll do that. But for the reservation in and of itself, we are currently avoiding that at all costs. So that's what we're doing. Ladero says, what is this? He says, right, listening to CFD podcasts have become a part of the morning routine. Oh, wow. That's scary. I'm like, what did I say? Hopefully we said something good. Ladero, thank you for the compliment. I like it. Let's see. It says, hey, Jay, when you are presenting in BNI for your feature presentation and there are property managers in the room, what main points do you hit upon? Got it. Property managers get hit up with stuff that they don't want to do, right? The easiest business you can ever get is to ask for the business that people are throwing away, right? Meaning, if a property manager is all about long-term rentals, just ask them, do any of your owners ever ask you to do short-term rentals? They'll have an opinion about it, and based upon their opinion, you'll know how to proceed, right? Or ask a realtor even, right? Because they get asked all the time, do you know a place where I can stay for 2 months? Realtors don't have an answer. You can become their referral sources in a very strong way. So highlighting how you work with other people and doctor's offices, etc., makes it easy for you. How you solve landlord's vacancy, as we were talking earlier in this particular chat. Those are the things that I tend to focus on for the most part. Mark Hill, looking for the best options to finance short-term rentals since I can't secure with first position due to credit scores. Business credit is building slowly. Got it. Mark, in the blueprint, okay, there is a module, and it is called financing. We specifically go through 3 different financial structures there are only 3 that I recommend. There is a bonus one, but I tend to save that one it doesn't matter until you're in phase 2 and 3. So we don't really talk about that one much. But inside the blueprint, there is, you have access to that already. Okay. So what I would do is I would go watch those 3 modules. And then the next question you're going to ask me is, how do I raise the capital? And then I'm going to, and if you're a mastermind student, you have access to capital creators. Again, 16 hours of information, literally, of how to do exactly that. Okay. Let's see. Ladero says he just purchased a book on Audible. He's got lots of credits to use. That's great. Yeah, I've been signed up for that Audible 2 a month thing so long ago, right? And yeah, it's great. It's a great way to make things happen. So good, and thank you for buying the book. I didn't know if that would happen. And Carol says, what time and what address are you speaking? Good question. Let me see if I should be able to look that up real fast. At least I think I can. Yes, it's going to be, oh man. This is, let me see, pull up my screen and do this number right there. So where am I speaking tomorrow? Tomorrow, I am pulling it up now. And it is, come on. There we go. There it is. Tomorrow, it looks like it's 7 p.m. And the address is Courtyard, LA, Pasadena Old Town, 180 North Fair Oaks Avenue, Pasadena, 91103. I guess you got to go to meetup.com or something to get the tickets, but you see how this works. So tomorrow, 7 to 9. I think it's going to be probably it's going to end up being a really large Q&A. That's my guess, because that's typically what happens, because there's just too much to cover. There's just always too much to cover. All right. Let me see. What time Thursday? Oh, great question, Mark. I can't believe I didn't do that. So for those of you who are coming and want to know about the presentation that we're doing on Thursday, you're going to go to CashFlowDiary.com. Let me do that again. It's CashFlowDiary.com/action. When you get there, it's going to look like this. Okay. And there it goes. It's going to look like that. And you're going to put in your name and your email address right there. And as you can see, it says Thursday, October 3rd, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. U.S. Pacific time. So obviously the presentation is done in English for those of you who are watching in our other countries. And so that you gotta be able to speak English, please, because otherwise it's going to be a problem. And but at the end of the day, personal development applies. Becoming a bigger, badder version of yourself applies regardless of nationality, language you speak, et cetera, because I can assure you 100% growing up at the kitchen table, that was not the conversation. Okay, that's nothing good or bad about how I grew up. It's just it wasn't part of our conversation, right? And at the end of the day, if you want to become that same thing that we're talking about, you're going to need to surround yourself with individuals to whom that is a part of their everyday conversation. All right. So and to drive that point home, I'm going to do something I normally don't do. Okay. I can't even believe I'm going to do this. But I'm going to show you guys something right now. Here's what I know, right? And again, I'm going to share my screen. Part of the reason that you want to be there is because when it comes down to it, what you're looking at right now, the number that I want you to, let me see, how do I highlight that number? I want that number. I want to write on that document on that number. Boo. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Is it, yeah, you see the screen, right? Nope, that's not what I was after. Anyway, with that number, the 818-544-11, that is just from the short-term rental side of my world, okay? And I'm sharing that because it's due to personal development, right? And that's just like year to date. Except, well, it's not even year to date. It's through August. I'm saying this with the knowledge that I know that number is probably about 200,000 lower than it would have been because we've been moving units, we've been growing, we've been doing a lot of things. I'm actually looking at that and going, I'm not doing as well as I wanted to, right? And that's because I've been exposed to my potential. I know what that looks like today. And it's because of understanding that I am urging you to come to the presentation, because I want that for you as well. Get more faster, period. All right? Get more faster. See, I know that number should be about $200,000 higher. I know that. I know that we're capable of that. I also know that we increased our expenses, or sorry, not our expenses, but our number of units over this last summer, which I know that's what ate up all of the quote unquote profit, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But I know that. And I'm okay with it because when I am not in expansion mode, you guys understand what that means, right? You get what I'm saying. And I'm saying this not because you having more units is going to make me more money. That has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the quality of life that I want you to have. That's literally why Cashflow Diary exists, is to help you do that type of thing. Okay. Where am I going? Let me look. Questions. You are. I am. Did you see my question, Jay? Yes, Shanna, I did see your question. I believe I answered it. And who's this? Philly Aguirre just says, hi, Aguirre, I think. All right, making sure, checking one last time. This is your shot. Do I have let me check for phone calls. I don't think there's any. Yep, no phone calls. All right, so this is your shot. We are going to come in for a landing here shortly. Susan says, done and registered. I love it. Mark seems to be registered. Who else is registered? I'm kind of curious, actually. So if you've already gone over to cashflowdiary.com/action, if you've gone over to cashflowdiary.com/action and have registered already, like drop an emoji in the comments. You like with that, I think there's one with the hand that's raised up. Drop that emoji because I'm kind of curious to see who that is already, because that's pretty awesome, guys. That tells me that you're eager for the information and you understand the importance of becoming a bigger, better, badder version of yourself. So, Brian, now I see you're in Puerto Rico. I don't know if Vivint goes to Puerto Rico. I see. So what you're saying is if Vivint's not available because you're in Puerto Rico, what do you do? Got it. Now I understand. One, first thing I'm going to do is talk to my wife, make sure, confirm that they're not available in Puerto Rico. Number two, if they weren't available, that's a really good question. I am not sure that I have a plan B for that already, because again, in most cases, let me work on that. Come back next week, Brian. I will figure it out. That's what I will do. Okay. And Aiko says, oh, okay, got it. Aiko, David, you guys are putting the hand up. I like it. Perfect. And then, hey, Marcy, how are you doing? So I appreciate you guys, taking the time to be here. I appreciate you caring about your own personal growth and just understanding that at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning, you and I, we can't out-earn our own personal growth. It's not physically possible. for us to make that happen. And having a plan for growing personally makes all the difference. And that's totally up to you. And I know sometimes it can feel like, well, I just want to get down to the business. I want to get down to talking to landlords and doing all these things. And the late Stephen Covey would clearly tell you to sharpen the saw. The more time that you can sharpen that saw so that you only have to cut one time, the better. But at the same time, I know that Jeff Olson would say that you can't stay stuck in just gathering information. You have to go out there and apply. And there's a cycle to it. Understanding how that works, understanding how you learn, understanding the roadblocks that are customized, that have been customized, that the world has customized specifically for you, makes all the difference. And that's really what I'm trying to say to you, right? I know a number of you want more. And the whole goal is that we're going to help you. We're literally intentionally helping you to get more faster. And all you got to do is get over to CashFlowDiary.com/action. We'll be there to assist you. I'm looking forward to helping you. For those of you that I see tomorrow in Pasadena, look forward to it. Awesome. Great. Come say hi. And for those of you that I see you on Thursday, can't wait to help you there too, because I know I'm excited. You think I'm excited about it? We're going to be talking to Brian Mattson. Now, I know that name may not mean much to you today, but for those of you who not only show up and choose to work with him, you guys, that name is going to become synonymous with, here's the guy that gave me the keys to the kingdom and allowed me to actually become the biggest, baddest version of myself, such that we can now do this. And those are the things that it comes down to. And there's such a thing because, again, we can all labor. And many of you know that I can't stand people who say, ooh, you got lucky, right? But to some degree we do. Because all of us, once we learn to apply ourselves and labor under correct knowledge, if you look at the first word or letters of those, you'll understand. But as we labor under correct knowledge, we can develop our own luck. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.